behalf of the Work Better Now team, I'd like to welcome everybody to Working Better Now, a series on workbetternow.com featuring a Q&A with a successful business leader. Today, we're really thrilled to be joined by Mike Malloy of Malloy Industries. Mike, thanks so much for joining us.
My pleasure, Rob. Happy to be here today.
And let's just jump right in, Mike. Tell us a little bit about your background and then how you ended up at Malloy Industries.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it was a dark and stormy night when I was born in Annapolis, Maryland, and fast forward, went to Boston College. I studied math and computer science. I got a job at Deloitte Consulting right out of undergrad. And this was right around the time of the financial crisis. So I worked with the FDIC doing failed bank closings for several years back then. Deloitte was kind enough to pay for me to go to grad school at Georgetown, got my master's in computer science, all the typical career path from computer scientist and consultant to traveling sunglasses salesman, and started my own social enterprise sunglasses company called Waveborn, similar to Tom's Shoes or Warby Parker. For every pair we sold, we donated reading glasses or funded sight restoring cataract surgeries in the developing world. And that was a great entrepreneurial journey from 25 to 30. We raised more than $500,000, had some pretty big deals, and ultimately I learned there's for-profits, there's nonprofits, and then there's no profits, Rob. And we kind of landed there at the bottom of that bucket, and 30 and broke, moved back into mom and dad's basement, learned a lot of humbling lessons going through business and personal bankruptcy, and coming to you now at 35. After some great experiences after Waveborn, I served as the program director at the Halcyon incubator in DC. So for 5 years, we worked with early stage social entrepreneurs going through a 5-month residential program. We gave them mentorship, advice, and basically tried to share all the scars and lessons I had learned to help them avoid it on their path. And while I was working there, I started teaching at Georgetown as an adjunct professor. So I now teach social entrepreneurship to undergrads at Georgetown, as well as a startup internship seminar where we match students with internships at startups and teach them skills so they don't suck.
Right.
And then about 9 months ago, I left Halcyon to work full-time on Malloy Industries, largely because during COVID, my wife and I had migrated out of DC to the beach in Delaware. And so when it was time to go back into the office, I said, I think it's time to stay at the beach. I love the organization and the people there, but I've had a lot of fun building Malloy Industries, where we help small business owners and entrepreneurs build outsourced or hybrid teams so they can get their time back while they scale their business.
Fantastic. That's quite a background. Tell us a little bit about what your team looks like.
Yeah, so team today involves me and Marissa Bradshaw, who's our chief of staff, and someone that we recruited through Work Better Now. And so she's helping manage the other 80 consultants and referral partners and service providers we have in the Malloy Industries consulting group.
Gotcha.
So we've structured our business where everyone is either a 1099 or they have their own business. And, we focus really on the business development side of finding clients that are growth stage companies. And we define growth stage as about $1 million or more in the bank account from revenue and or funding. They definitely have a product or service, they're selling it, they're making some money. And maybe 10 or more employees looking to scale, but realizing that they don't necessarily need full-time employees to solve all of the kind of hair on fire problems. Sorry, Rob, you might not have too many hair on fire problems.
They already all burned off. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, terrific. And then, so what's your, as somebody involved in running the company, what's your role? You mentioned a little bit about business development. Tell us a little bit also about the processes that you have all of these independent consultants and they're doing work on your behalf. How do you make sure that they're following a framework? What does that look like?
Yeah, great question. And one of the things Marissa's been amazing at is helping document all of our SOPs, our standard operating procedures, and making sure that the people we bring in are following a certain way of doing things. And, and I'll be candid, we're a startup ourselves, and some of these SOPs don't exist today, but they might in 2 weeks. And, I had somebody today, one of our partners, ask about an invoicing question, and thought about it, and I was like, and here's how we do it. And then I was like, and Marissa, we're going to want to document that as an SOP, because here's how we'll, track these invoices and things like that. And we also, I think one of the, maybe my unique abilities is that I've built a lot of friends and great relationships throughout my entrepreneurial journey. So probably about 70 of those 80 folks in the group have had existing relationships with me. And it's people that I enjoy working with and, that I trust that will do a good job. We're not really getting 21-year-olds right out of school to do this consulting work. It's, folks in their 30s, 40s, even up to their 70s that, are professionals and can do great work, but maybe are not as good at selling themselves or putting themselves out there, or even generating new business during COVID while we're all kind of stuck here in Zoom land.
Gotcha. So in that process, you mentioned this startup that you had that didn't work out. What did you learn in that whole process that you're seeing today? You're seeing the benefits of that today with Malloy Industries.
Yeah, so I think Wu-Tang should have taught me that cash rules everything around me. And the biggest issue with the sunglasses company was our cash conversion cycle and the seasonality of the business. We made a ton of money Memorial Day to Labor Day every year, but then every winter for 4 years, I basically went broke. And we never had enough acorns we had stored to pay for the inventory for the next spring. And so I think one of the benefits of this new business is there isn't as much of a seasonality. People need consulting services and they need sales and marketing and finance and operations and HR and coaching year round. So that's one big thing. Another thing that I learned along the way was to never hire somebody or bring them on until you have 6 months of what you're going to pay them in a bank account that you don't touch except for paying that person. Because I did in the sunglasses era one summer have a 12-person team and we had to let some folks go because we didn't have all the money that we thought we were going to have. And so being, I would say, a bit more financially conservative and like having savings buckets of taxes money, like any money that comes in from clients, take 20%, we put a taxes bucket right away. I don't know that I'm gonna have to pay all of that, but I'd rather have extra money in the taxes bucket as we're doing our taxes right now for last year than coming up short there.
Gotcha. Terrific. And, at WBN, we believe that how you do things is at least just as important as what you do. What are some of the things that you're getting the Malloy Industry clients to do? How are you getting them to work a little bit differently? And what are the benefits of that?
Yeah, I love it. So one of our core values is that we're enthusiastically fun. And so every meeting we have, Rob, involves at least one dad joke. And I'm going to layer it in right here. Do you know what a giraffe's favorite fruit is?
No.
It's a nectarine. Okay, so that's, if you're going to meet with us and we have it kind of in the contract. I wrote a contract this morning for one of our consultants, and it says every biweekly meeting you have with a consultant, she's going to have at least one dad joke for you. And so we want work to be fun. The projects that our consultants and partners are working on, this isn't the stuff like, oh no, I have to get out of work and do another TPS report today. It's, many of the folks in our network have a day job or they have other projects and kind of this patchwork career, and we're one of those patches. And we want to be the most fun, the thing they're excited about that energizes them and is in their strength zone or zone of genius, so that, clients can sense that energy when we're genuinely excited and bring that enthusiasm to help them solve their problems and to make their lives easier. We want to add tremendous value, and we're not trying to build solutions where you have to then work with us every month or this thing's not going to work. We want to teach your whole team how to fish and like completely solve this problem so you guys can do it on your own. And then we can talk about the next hair on fire problem you have and how we can solve that with a sustainable solution that we can either automate the process or streamline it to make it easier and easier to do whatever job needs to be done.
Yeah, gotcha. And so what's the process like to come up with new dad jokes all the time?
This relationship is officially based on trust, Rob, because I have a page-a-day dad joke calendar that my wife gives me every year. This is probably my 4th year. And we have our first son coming in a couple months.
That's
so
a good
I've been
investment.
training.
Right.
Yeah, I've been training my whole life for this.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
The $10 you spent for that.
And I drop a joke of the day into our Slack every day as well. So if folks need them to share with clients, there's a pretty good trail there.
Gotcha. Cool. Maybe you need a contest with your consultants who can come up with the best or worst dad joke.
Best or worst. I like that.
Yeah. I guess that's going to be a matter of opinion. Is your company doing anything unique in terms of how it's leveraging technology, especially now with everything being remote?
Absolutely. So as I mentioned, in a former life, I got my master's in computer science, realized I didn't actually like coding, and I had some social skills and enjoyed interacting with humans. So that being said, one of the ways we've leveraged technology is using Airtable. Are you familiar, Rob, with Airtable as a?
We have a client who's using it, and I got very intrigued by the concept of it. So I know enough to be dangerous. I'd love to
Yeah.
hear
Is it all
more.
right if I share my screen? Can I do
Yeah,
that?
please go ahead. This should work.
Yeah, give me 1 second. Let me just pull this up. So what we've done is use Airtable as a relational database to store information about all of our consultants that are in our network. And so let me share it here. There we go. Can you see this now?
Yeah.
So we have 82 folks in this network. And if somebody comes to me and says, hey, Mike, we need a grant writer or copywriter, great. I've got these 4 folks. Maybe we can introduce you to Ashley. She can help with some grant writing. Andrew and Amy both have experience writing comedy for TV shows. What we found from over 70 customer discovery interviews is that marketing is the biggest need for people that they want to outsource. So for example, Ash and his company Social Current is one of our referral partners. They're experts in TikTok. I don't have a TikTok account. Maybe we could do a choreographed dance if we tried really hard, Rob, but I'm going to go ahead and give that to the 21-year-old who's got a flourishing company with $50,000 a month in recurring revenue, managing TikTok accounts and connecting them with influencers. And so everybody fills out their profile. They kind of check the boxes for what their expertise are. And we're able to use this almost as a shopping list with clients. Like if you need SEO, let's talk to Brian. You need a pitch deck, we can connect you with Heather. Nate could build you some websites. Sean's got a full service creative agency. This kind of value prop that we're then able to put into an email and say, hey, here are some options. There are some freelance folks. If you need a videographer, we got 5 options. We've got SDR firms, sales trainers, individual sales reps, as well as a lot of strategy consultants. And so for the sales and marketing, maybe you're spending 10 hours a week with them working on projects. Strategy consultants, maybe it's 5 or 10 hours a month. And they're coming in to help at the high level. They're not going to do the blocking and tackling. They're also at a higher price point, closer to $250 an hour rather than $150 or $100 an hour for some of the other folks. And then we've got operations. We've got our good friends at Work Better Now. We can introduce folks to Ann if they're looking for some virtual assistance, as well as some other full-time HR folks, leadership coaching, finance. And again, this is all based on that kind of outsourced CFO model. We're applying that to the rest of the business, where if you need somebody for a part-time project, you've got them, supply chain, and then ultimately different technology solutions here at the end. So that's, I think, one of the biggest ways that we've leveraged Airtable to kind of show our business off.
Gotcha. And you're probably only scratching the surface in terms of what Airtable can do from what I have seen.
Absolutely. One of our clients, we're an Airtable kind of database consultant. We've designed their backend systems and how all the data flows with automations. And it's been a lot of fun, building systems that scale and can, kind of take the, what do you want to accomplish when, like, what's the trigger for it? And then, we can kind of figure out a way to be more efficient and save the team time, and also the intangible of like not manually copy and pasting the same thing 50 times every day.
Yeah. We're big believers that automation is just a huge opportunity for most small businesses to really do everything from improve the customer and employee experience to cut down on errors and a whole bunch of things. That doesn't surprise me that that's a big thing for you.
And I'll build on that too for business owners out there. There are things like, if you think about the Eisenhower matrix, urgent versus important. There's another one for, is it high skill or low skill? Or is it high leverage or low leverage? And how can you do more high leverage, high skill things that only you can do, and then delegate or automate all the other things? If it's low skill, you shouldn't be doing it. If you have a lot of skills focused on that, emails, calendaring, sending follow-up notes after things, documenting things in QuickBooks. There are a lot of things that don't need to be on the business owner's calendar, quite honestly.
Great, got it. So let's change things up a little bit. Tell us about your experience with Work Better Now. How did you hear about us, and what does that turn into? Yeah,
it's changed my whole life. I got to be honest with you. This is one of the best investments I've made as a business owner. And I think last summer I heard about the Start, Manage, Grow community and the Thrivers 360 program with Joe Rojas, and joined there. And that's where I first heard about it. And they have Sophia and Carla. And I joked for many weeks. I was like, Joe, like, I need a Sophia. Like, how do I get a Sophia? I want a Sophia 2.0. And the reason I wanted was because I was so impressed with the way she tag team Joe in the meetings. And Joe is similar to me. He's high energy, he's hands, he's getting you excited. He's going to tell you as it is. I love at the end of each meeting, he says, remember, you are loved. And that's just one of the many things that Joe does to make a special connection. What Joe's not good at is email. And I don't think he sends or even reads 90% of his emails anymore, because Sophia's in his inbox, managing it, following up, making sure things get on the calendar. And Joe just has to, he sees, okay, 3:30, I got this meeting. I'm going to hop on there. I'm going to crush. I'm going to be high energy. It's going to be great. But he doesn't send a follow-up either, because Sophia's probably in that meeting and she's got template follow-ups and can, write the original ones. And so that's what I've been doing with Marissa now. She's on, I'd say 80% of my meetings. And I don't send follow-up emails anymore. She does. It's amazing. And as I was thinking about the position description, because I have her as my chief of staff. She's not just an assistant to me. She's chief of staff, and I want her to have the authority to say things on my behalf, especially knowing that in a couple of months, I'm going to have a little baby and I'm going to try to take some paternity leave, but taking paternity leave when you run your own business is not the easiest thing to do. And so Marissa's been with me for about a month now. And I think the confidence that she can handle tasks, and she's also seeing how I communicate different things. And, our number one core value is to be relentlessly generous. We're going to give and we're going to give and we're going to give. And at some point, yeah, I'm sure we'll get compensated for it, but we're not keeping score. We're not trying to, nickel and dime folks. If we have resources that could be helpful, or articles or connections to folks that aren't even in our group, we're going to make them, because we want people to be successful. We want to add value and kind of multiply our impact 100-fold every day.
Awesome. Thanks so much for sharing that. Mike, what do you like to do when you're not working?
Great question. Well, I do have a little ukulele right here. So that's in there. I'm also, I'm an avid reader. I got stacks of books all over my office here. I tend to read 5 to 10 of them at a time and kind of jump back and forth between them. And honestly, family time is what it comes down to. I think COVID's helped me realize that as well, both with spending more time with my wife, going on walks together. We literally go on long walks on the beach a few times a week when the weather's permitting, and have a little candlelight dinner, and maybe building a baby registry is one of my new hobbies that I'm learning to love, I guess. So.
Awesome. Mike, where can people find out more about you and Malloy Industries?
Absolutely. So they can email me at mike@malloyindustries.com, MALLOYINDUSTRIES.com. And if folks hadn't picked up on it, there is an allusion here to Stark Industries and Ironman. Like, this isn't an enterprise. I'm not a Batman guy. There's clearly an Ironman path we're working towards. And so if anybody wants to help me build an Ironman suit over the next 25 years, send me an email. You can also check out MalloyIndustries.com or connect with me on LinkedIn, Mike Malloy, over there.
Sounds good. Mike, thanks so much for taking a few minutes out of your day to spend with the Work Better Now community. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure, Rob. And thanks for your time and, all the great benefit and positive impact you've made on my life and business so far this year.